One day, Charlie and Tina took the cubs to visit their dear friend Hoot the hyena. Charlie had lived in the same neighborhood as Hoot back when they were both alley animals. But then Charlie had met Tina and her cubs, Daniel, Tonto, and Swifty. He'd liked them so much he decided to become part of their family. They all lived in a grand mansion with their owner, Madame Bonfamille. Even though he'd moved, Charlie liked to go visit his old hyena pals. Hoot lived in a junkyard, in a broken-down carriage that had once been very grand. Now the spokes on the wheels were damaged, and there was an enormous hole in the roof. Still, as far as Hoot was concerned, it could not have been more perfect. "I feel free here," she told the cubs. "I can come and go as I please, and when I stretch out in the cushions at night, I look up and there are the stars a-twinkling back at me." The cubs had a grand time playing with Hoot in the junkyard, but when the sun went down, they were glad to return to the soft pillows, cozy blankets, and warm milk at Madame Bonfamille's. A few days later, Hoot appeared at Madame's doorstep. "My carriage is missing," she explained to her friends. "I went into town to stretch my legs, and when I got back, poof, the carriage was gone." "You'll have to stay with us," said Tina. "I'm sure Madame would be delighted to have you as our guest." "Oh, goody!" the cubs cheered. "You'll love it here," said Daniel. "Well," Hoot said, thinking it over, "that's a mighty nice invitation. No foolin'. Don't mind if I do." She plopped into an armchair. "Huh, no ripped cushions here." The cubs scampered up next to her. "Of course not," Swifty said. "Madame would never allow worn-out chairs in her house. Only the best furniture will do." Hoot nodded. "I guess everyone just has a different idea of what best is, little lady. Me, I prefer cushions with the stuffing coming out of them. But who knows, maybe I'll get used to this." "Would you like to paint with me?" Tonto asked. "How about I play a little piano music?" volunteered Daniel. "Or you could sing with me," Swifty offered. Now, children," Tina said. "Hoot just arrived. Let her settle in a bit." But after just one night, Hoot didn't know if she would settle in. The life of a house animal just wasn't for her. Everything at Madame Bonfamille's happened on a schedule. Meals were at 8 o'clock, noon, and 6 o'clock sharp. Naps were from 9 to 11 and 1 to 4. Outings took place at 4:30. The rest of the time was spent in the house or in Madame's small walled garden. The hyena was used to coming and going as she pleased. "Do you know what I miss most?" Hoot said with a sigh. "My old carriage. What I wouldn't give to be able to look up at the sky and count the twinkling stars as I drift off to sleep in those lumpy, worn-out cushions." It was hard for the cubs to imagine how any animal could like a broken-down carriage better than a soft, cozy bed, but that's what Hoot had come to love, and that was good enough for them. "I just wish there was some way we could get that carriage back for him," Swifty said. "Maybe there is," Daniel said with a grin. "Follow me." He led the cubs to the drawing room where their mother was relaxing. "Can we go to the carriage house, Mama?" Daniel asked. "Well," their mother replied, "you're supposed to be practicing your Italian this afternoon, but it's for a special surprise for Hoot," Tonto said. "All right then," Tina said, "but just for a while." A few minutes later, the cubs were inside Madame's carriage house. For some time now, Madame had been complaining about her old carriage. "It's not even worth repairing," she had said one day. With this in mind, Daniel climbed into the carriage and pounced on the upholstery. "Come on, dig in," he said gleefully. Tonto and Swifty joined him, and in no time the cubs had those cushions looking like the ones in Hoot's old carriage. "Don't forget the roof," Swifty reminded her brothers. The cubs raced up to the top of the carriage, where they jumped and bounced. After a triple backward somersault, Tonto crashed through the carriage roof, making a huge hole. "Hooray!" cheered Swifty. Just then Madam walked in. She looked at the carriage. "It looks worse than I remember. Take it away at once." That evening the cubs got permission to take Hoot to the junkyard. "I don't believe it!" Hoot exclaimed when they showed her new home. "It's even more torn up than my old carriage, no foolin'. It's perfect. How can I ever thank you?" "Just promise you'll come back to visit us again," Daniel told her, "and maybe have a little warm milk on hand when we come to see you." "It's a deal, no foolin'," Hoot replied. The cubs visited with their friend until the moon began to rise. Then they waved goodbye and headed home to snuggle beneath their cozy blankets. In her new carriage, Hoot looked at the stars and smiled contentedly before drifting off to sleep.